Welcome to this chilling journey. In today's story, we dive into a dark mystery that ties together a group of strangers, each drawn to an abandoned hospital by a cryptic message from the past. What seems like an ordinary day quickly turns into a fight for survival as they uncover the terrifying truth hidden within its walls. This story is inspired by real-life events of unexplained disappearances and secrets buried by those who would do anything to keep them hidden. As these strangers come face to face with their own trauma, they realize they may not make it out alive, or if they do, they might never escape the hospital's haunting legacy. The story you're about to hear is called Whispers from the Abandoned. So, sit tight and let's jump right into it. It was a good day when they all received the letter. The kind of day that seemed unremarkable, where everything felt normal, even peaceful. They went about their routines, oblivious to the darkness that was about to unfold. But when the letters arrived, each one slipping silently into their mailboxes, they knew something had changed. The handwriting was familiar, but they couldn't place it. The words, cryptic and unsettling, gnawed at them like a whisper from the past. The letter read, "You can't escape. What's coming? The hospital calls again. It's time to finish what you started." The message was not a warning. It was an invitation. An invitation to return to the place that had haunted them for so long. One by one, the strangers gathered in the square. They had each received the letter, and each had some experience with the abandoned hospital. Whether it was a family member who had worked there, a traumatic past, or some other connection that tied them to its haunting history. But they hadn't known one another before. They were all drawn here by the same message, the same force that had a hold on them. None of them fully understood why they had been chosen, but the moment they stood there, gathered together, they knew there was no turning back. The group stood together in the square, uncertain and tense. The sun was setting, casting a dull orange light across the cracked pavement. The abandoned hospital loomed ahead, its broken windows a stark reminder of the horrors inside. Elena, a woman in her 40s, broke the silence first. Her voice was steady, but there was a faint tremor in it as she looked at the hospital. "My father worked there. He was one of the doctors. 10 years ago, he just disappeared. No one ever told me what happened. They said it was an accident, but I don't believe that. I've been waiting for the truth ever since." Daniel, in his 30s, nodded grimly. "My mother was a patient there. She went in for a simple procedure, and then nothing. They said she died, but I never saw her body. Something about that place. It never felt right." Sarah, looking to the others, spoke quietly. "I had a husband who went in for a routine checkup. He never came out. They told me it was complications during surgery, but no one would let me see him afterward. It was like they erased him from existence." Elena's eyes narrowed, a quiet fury building in her chest. They erase everything, don't they? You don't ask questions because if you do, you end up with no answers, and maybe nothing at all. Daniel clenched his fists. "I've waited long enough for answers. This letter is our chance." Sarah nodded, though fear lingered in her eyes. "We can't ignore it. Whatever happens, we need to go in and find out the truth. For our families." With the silence between them thickening, they knew there was no turning back. The hospital was calling them, and they had no choice but to answer. The journey to the hospital was quiet, each step forward heavy with the weight of their shared pain and uncertainty. As they approached the rusted gates of the abandoned facility, the air grew colder, the night darker. The hospital's silhouette loomed like a monstrous shadow, casting an eerie glow under the pale moonlight. Inside, the walls whispered with the echoes of the past. Flickering lights cast strange, long shadows across the halls. They moved cautiously, guided by the tension in the air, the sense that something was waiting for them. It wasn't just the hospital's decay. It was the feeling of being watched, of something following them just out of sight. They reached the old, crumbling nurses' station, the floor creaking underfoot. The old journal lay there, forgotten by time, its pages yellowed with age. Elena picked it up, her hands shaking as she flipped through the fragile pages. The handwriting inside was familiar. It was her father's. This was his, Elena said, her voice barely above a whisper. He knew something was wrong here. As they read the journal, the truth began to unravel. A story of secrets, disappearances, and corruption that stretched back decades. The hospital had been involved in illegal medical experiments, using patients as test subjects without consent. Elena's father, the doctor, had uncovered the truth, and he had paid the price for it. The others, Daniel, Sarah, and the rest, soon realized that their loved ones had been victims of this same twisted system. But as they pieced together the mystery, something changed. The air grew heavier, the temperature colder. They were no longer alone. Shadows moved at the edge of their vision, whispers grew louder, and the sense of dread intensified. The group stumbled upon an old room, its door sealed shut for years. Inside, they found the remnants of the experiments, discarded files, syringes, and photographs of patients who had disappeared, their faces eerily familiar. "It's all connected," Sarah murmured. "This hospital, it never stopped." Just then, a sudden noise from behind them spun them around. The door slammed shut with a deafening bang, trapping them inside. Panic set in. They had uncovered the truth, but it had come at a cost. There was no escape. They fought to get out, but the walls closed in on them, the hospital itself seeming to come alive with a malicious energy. One by one, the group made their way through the dark hallways, but not all of them would make it out. Elena, in her desperate bid to find the exit, was the first to fall. The shadows claimed her, and she was gone before anyone could react. The remaining members pushed forward, each braver than the last, each paying the price for their courage. Daniel and Sarah reached the final stairwell, but just as they neared the exit, the building groaned, collapsing in on itself. In the end, only one person made it out, the last survivor who stumbled out of the hospital's broken doors. But the truth, the horrifying truth, had been exposed. The hospital was a front for a network of criminal activity, one that had operated in plain sight, hidden behind the guise of medical care. And the disappearances? They were no accident. They were part of a larger plan, a systematic effort to silence anyone who got too close to the truth. As the survivor stumbled into the daylight, the sound of distant sirens could be heard. But it was too late. The damage had been done. And as they gazed back at the crumbling hospital, the survivor realized the truth was never meant to be revealed. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the dark and twisted journey into the abandoned hospital. The story of Whispers from the Abandoned may have ended, but the mystery and terror linger long after the last page is turned. If you like this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more chilling tales. Feel free to share your thoughts and theories about what happened in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And remember, the truth is always darker than you think, and some stories are never really finished. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and always beware the whispers from the abandoned.